The Empty Chair, a Heather Flower Essence story. Gerald Whitmore had been talking for 11 minutes about his sciatica when his daughter finally interrupted him. "Dad, stop." He paused, phone pressed to his ear, standing in the kitchen of a split-level ranch in Maple Ridge, Ohio. Through the window, the Henderson's golden retriever nosed through October leaves in the fading afternoon light. "What's the matter, honey?" "I need you to actually listen to me. Can you do that?" "Of course I can listen. I always—" "Dad?" Her voice cracked. "I got promoted 3 weeks ago. I tried to tell you twice, and both times you interrupted to talk about your neighbor's dog." Gerald sank into the kitchen chair that didn't wobble, the one across from where Ellen used to sit before the cancer took her 18 months ago. The fruit bowl on the table held nothing but a shriveled tangerine he'd been meaning to throw away for weeks. "I don't think you know me anymore," Heather continued. "Every time I call, it's your back pain, your frustration with the pharmacy, your problems with the lawn service. And I get it. You're lonely since Mom died. But Dad, I'm lonely too. I miss you. The you who used to ask about my life, who used to actually have conversations instead of monologues." Gerald opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He thought about his son Kevin, whose calls had dwindled from weekly to monthly. About his neighbor Frank, who stopped inviting him to Monday night football. About Donna at the grocery store, who started choosing different checkout lines when she saw him coming. "I called Kevin last week," Gerald said quietly. "He seemed like he was in a hurry to get off the phone." "Did you ask him about Sarah's piano recital?" "Sarah had a recital?" The silence answered for her. "She won second place," Heather said. "She wore the dress Mom bought her before she passed." Gerald closed his eyes. He pictured his granddaughter, 11 years old, with Ellen's crooked smile, sitting at a piano in some auditorium in Colorado Springs. He hadn't known. He hadn't asked. "I don't mean to do this," he said. "I know. That's what makes it so hard." She paused. "Something strange happened last week. I was at this wellness shop. Marcus's sister runs it. They had these flower essences, little bottles with droppers. There's one called Heather, like my name, so I picked it up." Gerald waited, genuinely listening for perhaps the first time in months. "The description was you, Dad. Exactly you. It's for people who are so focused on themselves and their own troubles that they drain the people around them. People who talk and talk because they're desperate for connection, but the talking pushes everyone away." Her voice softened. "It's for loneliness, a specific kind that feeds itself." "Sounds like snake oil." "Maybe. Or maybe it's worth trying because your daughter is telling you something has to change." "Your mother used to keep me honest," he said. "When I'd go on too long, she'd touch my arm and say, 'Gerald, take a breath.' And I'd realized I hadn't let anyone else talk for 20 minutes. I remember. I didn't notice when it got worse, without her. That's why I'm telling you now. And Dad, I think you should talk to someone, a professional, someone who can help you work through this. It's not weakness to ask for help." Gerald thought about the business card Dr. Morrison had tucked into his pocket at his last checkup. Harold Robinson, licensed counselor, specializing in grief and life transitions. He'd thrown it away. "I'll try," he said. "Both things. I'll try." At Sunrise Wellness, Gerald found the Heather bottle between the gorse and the holly. Small, unassuming, with an illustration of purple bell-shaped flowers. He read the description twice. "For those who are obsessed with their own troubles and ailments, helps develop the ability to listen and empathize." His face grew warm. The shop owner came up behind him. She wore her gray hair in a loose braid and reading glasses on a beaded chain. "That's a good one," she indicated the bottle in his hand. "For loneliness. My daughter recommended it." "Smart daughter. These aren't magic, you know. Most folks I see find they work best alongside other changes. Therapy, journaling, whatever fits. I'm starting with a counselor next week. Good for you. He bought the bottle and the leather-bound journal that caught his eye near the register. Ellen had kept journals. He'd never understood the appeal until now, when having somewhere to put all the words crowding his mind seemed like relief. 3 months later, the bottle sat in Gerald's medicine cabinet, used inconsistently. Some weeks, daily, others not at all. Harold, his counselor, had encouraged him to view it as one piece of a larger practice, alongside the journaling and the homework. Ask 3 genuine questions before sharing anything about himself. The homework was harder than it sounded. But last Sunday, Kevin called him, not the other way around. They talked for an hour about Sarah's school, the new house Kevin and Jenny were looking at, whether the Broncos had any playoff chance. Gerald mentioned his sciatica once, briefly, and then asked about Jenny's mother's surgery. Before they hung up, Kevin asked him to consider flying out to spend Christmas with them. "I want you here so we can share memories about Mom in person," he said. When they hung up, he felt something he couldn't name. Lighter. Less like he was trying to drink the ocean through a straw. Heather visited for Thanksgiving. They stood in the kitchen, and she showed him how to make Marcus's grandmother's cornbread stuffing. Gerald asked questions about the recipe and didn't once mention his trick knee. "You seem different," Heather said while the turkey rested. "I'm trying to be." "I know." She bumped her shoulder against his. "I noticed, Dad." After she left, Gerald sat in his recliner looking around the living room. Ellen's portrait still hung above the fireplace. The rocking chair, finally fixed, sat by the window. He still caught himself launching into monologues, still watched people's eyes glaze when he forgot to pause, forgot to ask, forgot to listen. Harold said healing wasn't a destination, but a direction. Gerald wasn't sure he fully believed that, but he was walking the path anyway. He'd started joining Frank for football again, making himself stay quiet during commercials. He'd apologized to Donna at the grocery store for bending her ears so much. She'd laugh and said she appreciated it. Now they nodded at each other in produce, brief and friendly. And last week she asked him how his granddaughter was. With a big smile, he told her about Sarah's recent creative writing award in school. On the side table, next to his reading glasses, sat the small bottle with purple flowers on the label. He didn't know if it was the essence or the counseling or simply the effort of trying. Gerald said it didn't matter which. What mattered was choosing differently. Outside, the Hendersons' dog barked at something in the dark. Gerald smiled, just slightly, and didn't reach for the phone to complain about it. There is a particular kind of loneliness that doesn't look like silence from the outside. It's the loneliness that talks, fills space, explains itself, because it's afraid of being left unheard. Not a failure of character, but a human ache that can, without meaning to, push others just far enough away. Thank you for sitting with the empty chair. If it resonated with you, if it felt true in some small or tender way, you're warmly invited to let us know by liking the story. It helps these quieter pieces find their ways to others who might need them too.